Hey, everybody. All right, so we just woke up Oscar. I don't know if you guys can hear me because it just occurred to me I was having audio quality problems on my laptop earlier today, and I probably should have rebooted it and I didn't. So I'm just going to start, okay? Because truth be told, it is almost my bedtime, y'all, which means there's going to be a whole lot of absent-mindedness in this video. So, first things first, if you're new to me, my name is Sherry Capella, and I am a life coach and mentor for women. And I most specifically am coaching women through the perils of middle aged weight loss. If you're new to me, new to following me, I'm 46 years old and I have overcome antidepressants and alcohol. I wasn't an alcoholic, but I needed alcohol every night to numb out and to deal with life. And started to enter my late 30s and early 40s and found that I was weight loss resistant. And through the course of trial and error, finally found myself after about a good 10 years of trying to lose weight, finally succeeding. And I've been met with so much success that it's been an answer to a prayer. It literally only happened after I prayed. So I'm going to share with you a few things. And at the end, I'm going to give you my 10 best tips for starting a journey and how I would recommend the first 10 things to do to start losing weight and to stop the sabotage. So I can't see who's on, but if somebody is on, would you please let me know if you can hear me? And the reason I'm asking is I have a house full of children. I'm hidden in my bedroom right now, and our house is being remodeled. It's crazy. All right, so I'm just jumping in. So here we go. First things first, how to lose weight when you're middle aged like I am, and how to stop the sabotage. So, the first thing I want to talk about is I just want to preface this by saying this is going to be a series of videos. Okay, this is just video one. I have a whole host. If you stay to the end, I'll list out all of the topics I'm going to go over for the month of March, everything I'm going to be sharing with you. But I could talk for days and days because this is my passion. Recognizing how much research I've spent on this particular area and how much success I've had from all of the research that I've spent, I just want to tell you everything. And I know I can't keep you on here for days and days. So it's going to be spread out over the course of many days. And so tonight I'm just going to start with one little piece. So the first thing is I'm just going to start at the beginning. I'm going to start with the basics. You are watching this, which means you're very likely, probably somebody who's like me. You're probably finding yourself wanting to lose weight, not just because it's 19 days until spring, but you're maybe just at that point where everything you've tried is not working. Like you're just, you're done. You're frustrated because you're at that point now where you can drive by a fast food restaurant and feel your thighs getting bigger. I was there. So you want to lose the weight. You're overwhelmed by the options. You have one friend who's doing really well in this program. She's doing keto, and the other one's doing paleo, and the other one is doing boot camp. And there's just so many things. There are just so many options. You're overwhelmed. You don't even know where to start. And for that matter, you don't even want to exercise. Or even if you do exercise, you don't know what you should be eating. Or maybe you're like me, you don't know which food program is best because you don't want to start a program and have it be the wrong program that you absolutely don't like, or maybe it's not right for your food sensitivities or your intolerances, or maybe if you're like me, you spin your wheels because you try something that worked for a friend. For me, for example, I had a really good friend who did keto and she did amazingly well on keto. And it never occurred to me that she's about 6 or 7 years younger than me. The hormones of a woman her age are completely different than a woman my age. And so I started doing keto, only to find out that it made me gain weight. I was so bummed, but it put me in the wrong direction. So maybe you're like me, you're at that point where you don't even know where to go because there's way too many options. And then you get on a weight loss program and you're like me, you get really frustrated because Oscar, do you have something? No. Sorry. You get on something and you start to get depressed because, like, as the weeks go by, you're not getting thinner. Nothing's happening. You can't see the fruits of your labor. Like, you can't see any results. And if you're anything like me, it starts to get you blue. It starts to get you depressed. Um, and so there you are. You're just kind of completely stuck because what used to work for you in your younger years no longer works for you. And give it to me. Give it to me. What do you have? Oh, I'm sorry, you guys. I have a dog chewing on something, and I suspect it's candy. But like for me, maybe you're like me, and in your 20s and your 30s, Weight Watchers totally worked, or the cabbage soup diet. Anybody? Yeah, me. Those things worked for me. But then all of a sudden, I stepped into my 40s, and things were different. My body was changing, and I wasn't responding the same way that I had when I was younger. Um, all I can tell you is that when I was on a diet, which I'm happy to report I'm not, and I don't even coach women to seek a diet or a number on a scale anymore. But when I was on a diet, it was the fastest path to depression for me. And it was because when I was on a diet, I constantly felt deprived. I constantly felt like I had to give up my favorite foods. I struggled to give up wine. Like I couldn't give up wine. I know that sounds crazy. And for some of you, you might completely relate to me, but I couldn't give it up. And then I struggled with FOMO. I mean, I don't know if you've heard of that, fear of missing out. Like if my friends are going out for pizza, I want pizza and why shouldn't I? And all the stories and all the things start going on. Or if I'm on a diet and I start to enter into a state of stress, or I'm overwhelmed with my schedule, or I have no time to cook or no energy. I'm 46 years old and I have three little kids. No energy is a real problem, and it's one that I face constantly. Um, and another thing I faced as a mom is if I didn't have any time to prep or to cook, I certainly didn't have any time to exercise. And the more I put into any weight loss program, the more I felt like I was losing more of me. Like I was slipping through my fingers and I started to lose my joy. And I started to, in my loss of joy, I started to feel defeated because I wasn't losing the weight as quickly as I was used to losing weight. And I started to just get down and I started to um, throw in the towel. And that's where self sabotage happens. And maybe you can relate to that. So, what I did to start fixing my problems were these 10 things that I'm going to share with you. And I'm just going to go through them quickly. I don't know. You might want to take notes. I don't know if they'll be of any value. To some of you, there might be something completely new. To others, old hat. Um, what I can tell you is nearly each and every single one of these areas, I'm going to be diving into more deeply in the next coming weeks. So the first one is the first thing I recommend and that I did was in that for the women that I coach, I set my expectations. I had to realize that there I was, I'm a mom. I can't diet the way I did in my 20s before I had kids. I can't diet the way I did in my early 30s when I had young children. At the time that I started this journey, when I was 44, I was also on antidepressants. I couldn't do a lot of the things that I had done when I was younger. I also had to set my expectations, not only in being a mom, but I had to set my expectations that I had some habits I simply had to change that would require some inner work. I had to really do some inner work with regard to why am I on an antidepressant? Am I depressed? I had to do a lot of inner work on why do I need 3 or 4 glasses of wine a night, maybe one or two on occasion. But you get what I'm saying. I had to set my expectations. That was the first thing I did. The second thing I did was I had to identify my goals. I knew that if I wanted to improve my life, I was going to have to completely turn it around. And I want to say this most amazing quote that completely fueled me at the beginning of my journey. Who you are becoming, because that's more important than just being thin. I needed to assess who I was becoming at the age of 44 on this quest to be thin. Did I like how I was showing up with my kids? Every time one of my diets would fail, or I would sabotage it, or I would have to lean into drink, did I like who I was becoming? Because I was making who I was and how I needed to be stood up to be more the most important thing. And the reality was is who I was becoming was more important than just being thin. And I'm so thankful that I woke up to that. So the second thing was that I was starting to lead into here are goals. You need to stop focusing on a number on the scale and start focusing on the quality of your life, okay? You need to start digging deeper and undoing what's been done to you. I had to do this. I had to do some serious soul searching with regard to, do I want to become a better version of myself, or do I just want to become thin and then just maintain thin? And the reality was, when I started looking at my goals, I wanted to become better at being me. And so that's the path I'm on. The third thing was, I bought a journal, and I seriously, here it is. It's a 3-ring spiral bound notebook. It's not any leather bound fancy anything. I bought a journal and I bought a planner, a calendar. The fourth thing was, I decided to start with little steps. I wasn't going to completely choose a new meal plan, start meal prepping, getting up every morning, going into the gym or going to boot camp. I wasn't going to start doing all of those things. I was going to start small in one small corner of my life. And that small corner of my life was going to have a major impact, and it did. And that is, again, we're on number 4. I put my focus directly on my food, prepping my water. I know prepping your water sounds crazy, but it was the difference maker. It still is to this day, a difference maker. Focusing on my sleep and focusing on my faith. So it was food, water, prep, sleep, and faith. Those 5 things I focused on. I dedicated my focus in those areas. I didn't focus on where I wasn't. I didn't focus on working out. I didn't focus on anything other than the fact that these were the areas that I was going to just focus on every single day, just today, just this meal, just all of these things, these 5 areas: my food, my water, my prep, my sleep, my faith. The 5th thing was, I needed to pick a food plan. I needed to pick one thing. I knew ketogenic wasn't going to work for me. I knew Weight Watchers wasn't going to work for me anymore. I looked at paleo and I started thinking, paleo it has some limitations. So I identified my food plan. Now, in the coaching groups that I do with women, where I do weight loss coaching, weight loss life coaching, I give them a group of plans to choose from. So what I did in this instance, and what I recommend that you do, is just pick one food plan. Just pick it. Do your research, pick that plan. Then identify. So there you are. You've chosen that plan. You've got your calendar. Give yourself 2 weeks to ease into it slowly. Because if you are eating the standard American diet, the standard American diet, and you suddenly want to start a new meal plan, a new way of eating, of nourishing your body, just starting tomorrow morning is the biggest way you can be sure that you're going to fail. So in order to set yourself up for success, and this is exactly how I set up all my coaching programs, give yourself 2 weeks to slowly wean yourself off of the foods that you've become accustomed to, and then incrementally, hey Molly, and then incrementally step into that meal plan. So ease into it. Wean yourself from the foods that you love, that you tell yourself stories about, that you have to have. Number 6 is prep your menu for the week. So there you are. You know the meal plan that you've selected. Let's say it is paleo. I'm just going to pick one. You pick paleo, and you now are going to start prepping for it. You need to prep the menu for the coming week. You need to schedule when you're going to go shopping. When are you going to go shopping for the food? You've got your menu down. And when you think about your menu, I want you to think about it from the perspective of what are you going to have for breakfast? What are you going to have for lunch? What are your snacks going to be? What's your dinner going to be? Also, what are your kids going to be eating? Where can you save time by cooking one dish? Like maybe you brown all the ground beef or brown all the ground turkey, and then you divide that up into, okay, some of this is going to be in mom's meal, some of it's going to be in daddy's, and some's going to be in the kids. You get what I'm saying? So you're going to do your shopping, you're going to prep for the week, and you're going to identify when you're going to prep for the week. You're going to prep all your meals. I want you to think about every single thing you have coming up for the next week. So when you think about prepping, I want you to prep your mind for your schedule as well. If you're going to be at soccer practice, you need to think, okay, what can I grab and go that isn't French fries? Okay, so let me find, can I keep a bag of apples in the front seat of my car? Can I keep a bag of carrot? Whatever. You get it. Prep it. Anticipate it. You know you're going to be hungry. You used to plan for your babies. Remember when your babies, your kids or your toddlers were little, you knew they were going to be hungry all the time. You anticipated their hunger. Anticipate your hunger. You know it's going to come. So there you are. You're prepping all of these things. You're anticipating all of these meals. You're planning them all out. You're planning when you're going to shop, and you're planning and identifying when you're actually going to prep your food. And this is the most genius part. Then do it. Just do it. I mean, a lot of times I would get so confused and perplexed as to why I couldn't lose weight because I selected the meal plan. I shopped. I identified, what foods I would need. I went shopping for them, and then I wouldn't eat them. Like I would waste all of this stinking food in my fridge, all the spinach, all the kale, all the carrot. I wouldn't eat the crap, and Harry would get so mad because I just so just prep it and then just eat it. Okay, so that was number 6. Number 7, keep your focus daily. Don't focus on the overwhelming thoughts of, oh, this week I got to do all the successes. This month I got to do da da da. No. Every morning, just think about that day. And then every evening, start your PM routine. This is a PM routine. I coach all the women, every woman that I coach, I teach them about their PM routines. Your PM routine is what guarantees tomorrow's success. So tonight, your PM routine would be, if tomorrow were a work day for you, you would prep your coffee, prep your waters. If you have a career and you're traveling, prep the waters you're going to be drinking. Do what you can to make sure that everything done tonight, your PM routine sets the tone, sets the stage for your next morning. And when you wake up in the morning, if your morning is prepped, the tone is set for your day. Okay, so your PM routine is how you set the stage for the tone of tomorrow. So prep everything at night. Prep your water, prep your coffee, prep your breakfast, prep your lunch, get it all packed. Get your kids' clothes ready. Get your clothes ready. Like I said, all of these things aren't new things. But when you put them all together and you see the simplicity in them, you're going to see that this is your way out. This is the way that you can stop the sabotage on any kind of meal plan that you're wanting to stick to, especially if you're wanting to slim down. Here's something else that I've recently started doing in the last 6 months. Every morning, I do a Bible study. It's not for everybody, but it is for me. And I can tell you this much. I prep that at night. Yes, you heard me. I prep my Bible study because in the morning, if I get up and one thing goes wrong, that Bible study is the first thing to go. And I have learned that that's where my strength is. So at night, I even prep my Bible study. So there you go. That's number 7. Keep your focus on the daily, and every day prep for the next. Okay. So every day you're going to be doing your PM routine, getting everything ready so that in the morning you just get up, you press the button, you fill up your cup of coffee, you sit down, you do your Bible study, you get your kids ready. You know what you're going to wear. You know what they're going to wear. Everybody's lunch is in their backpack. Their shoes are on their feet. Their coats are on their bodies. you're out the door. Bing. Day's going to be amazing. Number 8. Ooh, this one's hard. This one's going to hurt. But this one is a difference maker. Okay? Amen to everything. Thank you, Molly. I miss you. Number 8, prioritize and prep your sleep. Okay? Now, this is the hardest one for most of the women that I coach. All of them say, oh, I have such a hard time getting to bed before 11:30, 12:30. I'm just a night owl. You don't understand. I get it, but I'm going to tell you this. The side effects of sleep deprivation are detrimental to your health and to the success of your weight loss. I'm just going to tell you right now, I could go into the reasons why in terms of how it affects your cortisol, all of the things. Here's what I can tell you in layman's terms. It's going to affect your decision making. It's going to affect your mood. And if it affects your mood, it likely will affect your food. It's going to affect your ability to think. Tell me the last time when you've been running on little sleep and your kids are driving you crazy and you're hungry, how you showed up. It wasn't pretty, I'm sure of it, and I know that because I've done that. So what I do is I protect my sleep. I guard it. In fact, here's how I prep for my sleep. I know that every night I need 7 hours of sleep. And if the next morning I want to get up and do a Bible study before I start my day, I know what time I have to get up. So if I have to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning, that means every night I need to be in my bedroom at 9 o'clock. I need to put those kids to bed. I need to be in my bedroom by 9 o'clock so I can wash off the face by 9:15. I can be laying down in my bed at 9:15. And between 9:15 and 9:30, I can slowly be knocking out so that by 9:30, I'm out. So that way, when that alarm clock goes off at 5 o'clock in the morning, I'm ready to go. I can do all things that I want to do because I've planned and prepared for them. And so because I set the stage the night before, the tone of my day is now off to a great start. So I want to encourage you to really prioritize and prep your sleep. It's the difference maker. Number 9. All right, so here we go. This is where it gets pretty, and this is where the life coaching component into weight loss comes into play. Number 9, while you're going through at least the first 2 weeks as you're transitioning off of a standard American diet and you're transitioning on to, whatever food program you want to step toward, you need to start paying attention to what is working and what's not working. And this can be in all areas. This can be in the area of, like if you eat certain foods, it's still making you hungry, or you're finding that you're too tempted because uncertain. You could even observe that what's not working is you need to prep better on certain days, because if the kids have rehearsal or the kids have soccer or whatever the kids have going on those evenings, maybe the food that you prepped, there's nowhere to microwave it. Maybe it needs to be grab and go food. The point is this: you need to grow from this process as well. You need to tweak it and modify it as you progress through it. Don't just stay with, okay, this is how I started on day 1 and I got to make it work. And therefore you're frustrated and you hate it and you're miserable and you're back on antidepressants and drinking wine every night. Don't do that. Observe what's going on. Coach yourself through it. Recognize that if there are things that aren't working, tweak it. Identify what's working and what's not, and replicate what is, and improve on what's not, and see what you can do to isolate what's broken and fix it. Okay, so that was number 9. Oh, this is the second part of number 9. Get in the habit on the calendar of tracking your mood and your food. And I'll get deeper into this in the month of March, but it's also going to be essential that you track your mood and your food as it relates to your fluctuating hormones every month. If you're younger than 65 years old, it's very likely you're still dealing with your monthly cycle, which means your estrogen levels fluctuate throughout the course of the month, which means that your mood is going to fluctuate throughout the course of the month. And in my coaching programs, I teach women how to really harness, how to get their hands around and control how their food affects their mood regardless of their hormones. But as it relates to you just getting through this, start tracking it, because you're going to want to pay attention to where your where you're craving more. Because if you're craving more, that might mean that you need to eat a little bit more, especially around your cycle. And everybody knows that their cycles are a little bit different. But where your cycle is, peaking, you're going to need to eat a little bit more food. But what you need to do is anticipate that when you go shopping and you prep. Anticipate your cycle. Anticipate that you're going to be a little bit snacky. And within the confines of the meal plan that you've chosen, identify the foods that you can snack on and simply add them to your grocery list and anticipate your hormones, just like you anticipate hunger. So, number 9 was observe what is working and what's not, and track your mood and your food. Number 10 is as you ease from that 2 week start period, that 2 week start period that I first mentioned, you need to start slowly stepping into the actual plan. And, just get deep into taking the notes, observing yourself, observing how you're feeling, and observing what it is that is working and not working, and then adjust it, like I mentioned earlier. So, those are the 10 things. Now, what I'd like to say is, oh, my hand's asleep. For the month of March, I will be sharing this and so much more. You guys, I'm going to totally just spill it all and bring it all out there to you, because there are so many women who are like me that are searching for the right plan that they haven't found yet. And I'm going to be honest with you. The only reason I'm in this industry, in this genre right now of life coaching, I mean, I could be coaching on so many different things, but this was the biggest struggle that I had. Was I couldn't find a program that met me where I was. And where I was I had a lot of emptiness inside, and it was manifesting in an overweight exterior, if that makes any sense. So through the month of March, I'll be sharing so much with you. I hope you'll follow me on this journey. Um, Everything that I did to not only change my body, but to change my life, like I mentioned, is what I'll be sharing. And I just want to impress upon you that my journey has elevated me to a whole nother height and a whole nother realm, where I now am officially no longer, and I don't teach this at all either, I teach women to no longer seek a number on the scale, but to seek God instead. And I know that sounds so crazy, but I can honestly tell you that so much has come from just leaning into that, and understand that when you do that, that is where weight loss is made easy. Because when you meet him halfway on the path, he starts showing up and meeting you, and the two of you together exceed and blow away anything you could do on your own. So I'd like you to experience the same thing. I'd like you to follow my journey. Make sure that you're following my life coaching page. Some of the this page here, some of the things I'll be going over with you for the month of March is how to overcome and how I overcame weight loss resistance, overcoming self-sabotage, and a little bit of a deeper dive, finding the right food plan for you, emotionally eating, and why and how I created something in the spiritual realm called battle plans, what food plans worked for me at different ages and stages, because I'm telling you, they don't all work for you as your hormones fluctuate with age. I'll give you all of my best and most amazing prep tips that help me to lose weight and reduce stress. I'll teach you a little bit more in depth how to plan your week at a very deep level that is profound and can be life changing if you lean into it. Um, I'll start sharing with you how the Holy Spirit has helped me to lose my weight. And I mean, I'm not done on my journey, but I'm on my way. And I can honestly tell you, there's so many more things here. Everything from stepping off of antidepressants, releasing my desire or need for alcohol every single night, collecting an evidence file, my prep tips, my prep cheating tips, how to cheat on prepping, like especially if you're a busy mom and you have to hurry through things. Um, let's see, what are some of the other things? How foods affect my body. Oh, girl, this one's huge. How the foods I was eating were affecting my skin, affecting my brain, my thinking, um, my bloating, my PMS symptoms, my hormones, how I regulate hormones, how I teach women now to regulate their hormones, how just by making a lot of these changes in your life can even get you off of any and all medications that are just fluff medications. You know, whether it's a medication to help you sleep, or you know what, I'll be honest with you, there's new ways of doing things now that can release you even from type 2 diabetes medications, or you name it. I mean, I could talk for days. You guys know I can talk for days, but 30 minutes is long enough. So there you go. That's video one of my journey. I hope you'll follow along as I go into greater detail and start sharing a little bit more about my journey. So if you're interested, make sure that you follow my page. You might have to go into all the settings and choose see first so that you don't miss any of these videos. I'm also going to start uploading them to my YouTube channel. So if you have any questions, just reach out to me.